Hi friends, welcome to our class on machine learning. So myself, Dr. M. Tirupati Rao, working as associate professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, VIT. So as part of our lectures, today we are going to discuss the another important topic in the third unit, that is the linear discriminant analysis, which can be shortly called as LDA. So okay, let us go into some of these brief details about this technique. So this is the syllabus of your third unit. So far we had covered these dimensionality reduction and feature selections. So in that we had discussed nearly 12 techniques. So by using how we can reduce the dimension of the, okay. So this is the syllabus which we had for the third unit. So far in our last class we had covered this dimensionality reduction and feature selection, and what is the dimension reduction, how we can reduce the dimension of a data set, and what is the need of reducing the dimensional reduction of a data set. We had discussed in detail about the both feature selection and dimension reduction. There we had seen how the dimension can be reduced without compromising the quality of the model or quality of the data set, which we are using further for the processing of the model. So today, coming to this extension of those techniques, that is the dimensionality reduction algorithms, today we are going to discuss the another important technique or algorithm, that is the linear discriminant analysis, as I told you, so which can be called as shortly LDA. So the content of this lecture is the linear discriminant analysis, what are the advantages and disadvantages, how this linear discriminant analysis can be implemented and what are its advantages, disadvantages, and where this technique linear discriminant analysis can be applied in the real-time applications, and some of the examples you can see in this lecture. And the main objective is the student can have a good knowledge about this linear discriminant analysis model, and of course the outcome of this is the student can differentiate both the other technique, that is LDA and PCA, and similarly he can utilize this linear discriminant analysis technique in whenever he is working with a real-time model to reduce the dimension reduction. As I told you, this LDA and PCA both are, so linear discriminant analysis and principal component analysis, both are the dimensionality reduction techniques. The main difference between these two techniques are the LDA will be worked under the supervised learning techniques, whereas PCA can be considered as the unsupervised learning technique. That is the major and solid difference between these two types of models. Whereas linear discriminant analysis can be used for supervised learning models, whereas principal component analysis models can be used for the unsupervised learning models. Okay, let us see the next thing. So limitations of logistic regression. So before going to the linear discriminant analysis, why we need to go for the linear discriminant analysis when we have the linear regressions and logistic regressions can be used for these models. So these are some of the drawbacks that were observed previously by using the logistic regression. So by overcoming these differences or the limitations, we will go for the upgradation model or the next level of the linear discriminant analysis models. So some of these drawbacks or limitations of this logistic regression are two-class problems. So logistic regression is mainly intended for two-class or binary classification problems. That thing we already know. It can be extended for multi-classification, but it is very rarely used for this purpose, and we cannot predict the outcomes or output of this. Why? Because the major role of this using this logistic regression is mainly a binary classification problems. That is one of the limitations of this logistic regression. The second one is unstable with well separated classes. Logistic regression can become unstable when the classes are well separated. That is the another drawback of this logistic regression. Third one is the unstable with very few examples. When the examples number is very few, then also the logistic regression cannot be implemented in a successful way. So linear discriminant analysis does address each of these points and is the go-to linear method for multi-classification problems. So basically the simple difference between this logistic regression and linear discriminant analysis is basically logistic regression can be used for binary classification type of problems, whereas linear discriminant analysis can be used for multi-class classification problems. where you have more than 2 classes or 3 classes. There you can use this linear discriminant analysis models. Even with binary classification problems, it is a good idea to try with both logistic regression and linear discriminant analysis also. It doesn't mean that if you have only 2 classes, you cannot use this linear discriminant analysis. It's not like that. You can use this both either a logistic regression model or linear discriminant analysis model, even if you have a 2 classes to work with. Okay, so this is the thing. So by observing all these limitations in the logistic regression, we went for the next upgradation or next level of the model, that will be the linear discriminant analysis we had developed, such that to solve all these limitations observed in this logistic regression for analyzing or getting the better results when we are working with the real time problems. Okay. See this linear discriminant analysis, shortly called as LDA. So this is the history of this LDA. See here. So basically this was proposed by Ronald A. Fisher. He was the scientist who invented firstly this discriminant model in 1936. He did this, and it also has some practical uses like classifiers. Basically the original classifier discriminant was used for a 2-class problem. Basically it was mainly developed for the 2-class problems like a binary classification problems. Later it was converted to multi-class problems. So later it was upgraded, rather we can say upgraded to the multi-class problems, and it was done by Professor C.R. Rao in 1948, and it is called as the multiple discriminant analysis or multi-class linear discriminant analysis. So at first it was proposed in 1936 by Ronald A. Fisher for the first linear discriminant analysis model for 2-class or binary type of classes models. Later it was upgraded for the multi-class type of problems by Professor C.R. Rao in 1948. So that is the basic foundation of this linear discriminant analysis. Then basically this linear discriminant analysis or LDA is a dimensionality reduction technique. So basically LDA comes to dimensionality reduction technique, which will be used to reduce the dimension of a data set, and it can be used as a pre-processing step in machine learning and pattern classification applications. So basically LDA can be used as a dimensionality reduction technique in both machine learning and pattern classification examples or application areas. The main goal of this dimensional detection is to reduce the dimensions by removing the redundant and dependent features. So mainly this LDA is used to reduce the dimensionality reductions or dimensionality reduction of a data set. How it is going to reduce this means, mainly it is going to remove by reducing the redundant and dependent features. So redundant data, whatever the features which are continuously repeating can be removed, and similarly dependent features, the features which are dependent on some other variables also can be removed by transforming the higher dimension space to a lower dimension space. The main target here is transforming the data set of features to higher dimension space to lower dimension space. Higher dimension space means where we have more number of features, and lower dimension space means where we have very few number of features there. So linear discriminant analysis is a supervised classification technique. I told you already, LDA stands for the supervised learning technique, whereas the other type of dimension reduction technique, that is the PCA, principal component analysis technique, will comes under this unsupervised learning technique. See, types of dimensional reduction technique, I told you just now also. Basically these dimensionality reduction techniques can be classified here. For supervised learning, you can see this linear discriminant analysis, whereas for unsupervised learning we are using this PCA, principal component analysis. So picture is very clear here. For reducing the dimension of any data set, if it is in supervised learning model, we are going to use this linear discriminant analysis model, whereas if the data set or data is an unsupervised learning model, we are going to work with, we'll use the principal component analysis model. That is the major difference between these two techniques. See, the main differences between this principal component analysis and linear discriminant analysis are both LDA and PCA are linear transformation techniques that are commonly used for dimensionality reduction techniques. So basically both LDA and PCA can be used for the main task is the dimensionality reduction. So reduction of the dimension of a data set is the goal here. PCA can be described as an unsupervised algorithm since it ignores class labels and its goal is to find the directions. So basically PCA or principal component analysis is a unsupervised algorithm or unsupervised learning model algorithm which ignores class labels and its goal is to find the directions that maximize the variance in a data set. That is the main goal of PCA. Similarly, in contrast to PCA, LDA is a supervised and computes the directions that will represent the axes that maximize the separation between the multi-class classification or classes. So both the PCA and LDA can be used for the supervised and unsupervised learning techniques or identifying the direction of the axes in the linear graph, but the main thing is PCA can be used to increase or maximize the variance in the data set, whereas LDA can be used to separation or maximize the separation between the multiple classes. So in other words, we can say LDA can be used to maximize the separation between the multiple classes, whereas PCA can be used to maximize the variance in a data set. That is the main difference between this PCA and LDA. Although it might sound initially that LDA is superior to PCA for a multi-class classification task, whereas class labels are known, but this might not always. Normally we will think that LDA is better performance, is giving the better performance than the PCA, but it may not be suitable or it may not be true for every condition. Based on the problem, based on the type of the situation we are using and based on the technique which you are using, so it depends on the performance of the two techniques. It is not that LDA is better than PCA in some cases, not like that. So based on the problem which you are going to consider and you are working with, it depends there. So in conclusion, that linear discriminant analysis, see, so we are basically looking, so while we are working with this LDA, we are basically looking for these 3 points. See, which set of parameters can best describe the association of the group for an object. So if you have an object and now you need to identify whether this object belongs to which group, or by adding this object to a particular group, how its performance is going to be increased. That is the main thing we will find with this LDA. Second one is, what is the best classification preceptor model that separates those groups? I told you, so LDA can be used to maximize the separation between the classes. So what is the best classification preceptor model? So which one is the best model that separates those groups? Already we have some groups. So what is the best model that can be suited to separate those groups in a better way? It is widely used for modeling varieties in groups, that is distributing variables into 2 or more classes. Suppose we have 2 classes and we need to classify them efficiently. That is the main problem. So this is the thing we will search for the LDA. Next, see here you can understand. This is the before LDA. See in this x-axis, this is the y-axis. Here you see 2 groups of elements are there. Black dots is one group of elements and triangle shape blue color elements or the data points are the another group. Now you want to separate or classify these 2 groups. So before LDA the data alignment is like this, after LDA the data alignment is like this. So a straight line or an axis is being generated between these 2 types of data sets where most of the data has been classified from the 2 groups, maybe very small amount of data being sent or placed in the other group. That thing why it is there you can see here. Classes can have multiple features. So classes can have multiple features. Using one single feature to classify may yield in some kind of overlapping of variables. So if you want to classify these 2 types of groups, taking one variable into consideration and grouping the 2 things may not give you the exact results. Because sometimes by considering that single variable, sometimes the data may go for overfitting of the data also. So there is a need of increasing the number of features to avoid overlapping that would result in proper classification in result. So by considering more number of variables, see here online how many variables we are considering here? Not single variable, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 variables. So considering more number of variables to separate the classes will give you good results in turn or in return. That is the main difference between this before linear discriminant analysis and after linear discriminant analysis. So, how this LDA can be performed? Basically, this LDA can be performed in a 3-step process. So, here you see this first step in this LDA process. So, the first step is calculate the separability. I told you basically this is used to separate the classes or maximize the separation between the classes. So, first point is calculating the separability or the separation amount. So, calculate the separability between the classes. So, that is the first step we need to perform in LDA. So, calculate the separability between the classes. Known as the between class variance, it is defined as the distance between the mean of different classes. So, basically the separation or separability can be taken as the distance between the mean of different classes and allows for the algorithm to put a quantitative measure on how difficult the problem is. That is, this separability is kept in a between class scatter matrix. So, the separability can be calculated as this one. Between class scatter matrix, by using this value, we are going to calculate the separability value. This can be represented as SB. So, here the formula is I varies from 1 to G. This is the formula where Ni stands for the sample size of class I. So, we are having the class I here. So, what is the Ni here? Sample size of class I. So, the number of samples in the class can be represented with this Ni, and xi bar minus x bar can be taken as this x bar is the overall mean and xi bar is the sample mean of class I. So, we are taking the sample mean of a class minus overall mean we are subtracting, and similarly it is being multiplied with the overall sample mean of class with the overall mean with a transpose of t. This is the formula with which we are going to calculate the separability of a particular LDA model which we are considering for a class I. The second step we are going to follow here is the compute the with class invariance. So, now we want to calculate the variance in the class or the distance between the mean and the sample of every class. We can compute the within class variance, or in other words the distance between the mean and the sample of every class. This is another factor in the difficulty of separation. Higher variance within a class makes clean separation more difficult. So, when the variance is more, the separation of the variables in the class is very difficult to do. So, this can be calculated as within class variance can be calculated as SW, and it can be represented as I told you I varies from 1 to G. I is the class I with variables, Ni is the sample size, and Si scatter matrix plus class I can be represented with the formula like this. So, by using this formula, we are going to calculate the mean variance or the distance between the mean and the sample of every class can be calculated by using this formula. And the third step is construct a lower dimensional space that maximizes the between class variance, that is separability, and minimize the within class variance known as Fisher's criteria. So, here the point is we had calculated two things, that is the maximize the between class variance, that is separability, and minimizes the within class variance we are calculating, which are known as the Fisher's criteria. Then linear discriminant analysis can be computed using singular value decomposition or eigenvalues or using a least square error method. By using any of these methods, by calculating these two values, that is the maximizing the between class variance and minimizing the within class variance, we can calculate the linear discriminant analysis values. So, this is the steps by which we are going to calculate the mean difference or maximizing these 2 points, maximizing the between class variance and minimizing the in class or within class variance. Now, see, if you want to working with this LDA, how the data can be prepared. If you want to work with, or if you want to observe, or if you want to implement this LDA on a particular data set, how the data can be converted. First one is the classification problems. LDA is intended for classification problems where the output variables is categorical. That means LDA supports both binary and multi-class classifications. That is the main point here. So Gaussian distribution also can be implemented used in this LDA. The standard implementation of the model assumes a Gaussian distribution of the input variables. So consider reviewing the univariate distributions of each attribute and using transforms to make them more Gaussian looking. That is the main thing we are going to do. We are going to convert or review the univariate distributions of each attribute and using that transforming to make them more Gaussian looking model. So removing the outliers, there is another point, and same variance. LDA assumes that each input variable has the same variance. It is almost always a good idea to standardize your data before using LDA. So that is our first point in LDA, standardizing or separating the data. So assuming every variable has the same value means it is very easy for us to implement this LDA on that particular data set before using, so that it has a mean of 0 and a standard deviation of 1, which will be very easy for us to calculate LDA on that. So extension to LDA. So there are some extensions also available to LDA model. So some of those are the quadratic discriminant analysis and flexible discriminant analysis and regularized discriminant analysis. These three are the further developments which were done to this basic LDA model, where QDA, quadratic discriminant analysis, can use as each class uses its own estimate of variance. That is the main thing here. Each class uses its own estimate of variance. It is going to estimate of its own variance for every class. Flexible discriminant analysis means where non-linear combination of input is used, such as splines. So I told you LDA use the linear combination of data. So if the data is a non-linear data, we are going to use this FDA, that is flexible discriminant analysis model. Whereas regular discriminant analysis, it introduced regularization into the estimate of the variance, moderating the influence of different variables on NT. That means regulating or controlling the values of or estimates of the variance, such that data can be in a standardized model, which will be easy for us to implement this LDA model on that data. So some of the applications of this LDA are like, LDA can be used as a classification task for speech recognition. Basically it is used for the speech recognition, like voice recognition or identification of speech, whether a particular speech or a voice belongs to a particular person or not, can be verified by using this LDA. Microarray data classification, face recognition, image retrievals, bioinformatics, biometrics, chemistry, all these are the areas where you can use this LDA. So image retrieval, so you have a face, you need to identify whether that particular person's data or particular person's photo is there in our database. By giving input as the current image, we can map with the images stored in our database and identifying with which person the photo is being matched. So binary information, binary informatics, biometrics, and of course chemistry there you can use. So another important is for customers recognition. So LDA helps here to identify and choose the parameters to describe the components of a group of customers who are highly likely to buy similar products. So you have basically, when you have a showroom or when you have a shop, there you can observe so many types of customers are being coming. Based on their age or based on their taste, we are going to make them into different groups. Whenever the new person is being coming, so based on his ideas or based on his knowledge or based on his taste or interest, the LDA is going to keep in a particular group, such that the machine is going to suggest you that that particular person is going to purchase these sort of items. Like that is going to display you. For predictions, you can use similarly. For face recognition, I told you already, in medical, patients' diseases, matching the tissues or identifying the tissues on chemical, like various scans like MRI scans, CT scans, all those things. In medical, it is highly used. For face recognition, identifying a face of a person and giving automatical postage of attendance for a student, or automatic identification of giving access to entry into a particular place. Like that, for recognizing the face of a customer or a person, this can be used in a better way. For learning models also, this can be used in a better way. So this is the textbooks which were prescribed in your syllabus. So for these are the textbooks, machine learning written by Tom Mitchell, and some other textbooks which were given in the for the Python that can be used in machine learning, and of course some of the reference textbooks given. So when you have some free time, you please go through these textbooks, which will give you the better understanding and better idea about how these techniques can be used for a real-time applications. As a whole, if you discuss, LDA is mainly arrived due to the limitations of logistic regression. So some of the limitations we had seen for logistic regression. To overcome those restrictions in the logistic regression, LDA has developed by Fisher in 1938 for binary models. Later it was converted to multi-class models that can be used for more than 2 or 3 classes for solving the problems. Later this can be mainly used in the face recognition, medical applications, biometrics, where you can identify your thumbs or fingers, even for your hand, palm also you can use, and pattern classification or pattern identification you can use this. So this is the thing, and these are some of the references from where I had collected this source for presenting this lecture, and thank you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.